Good afternoon. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the Ipsos Synthesio webinar on using social intelligence to maximize your business success. My name is Geeta Lobo, and as people are joining in, I would like to walk you through what is it that we are planning to share today. To start with, we will talk about the power of social data itself, and then we'll move on to explaining how we at Ipsos actually deploy data science and our understanding of insights to decode trends and opportunities. We will also share some use cases with you, some recent work that we have done, and coming up is something super exciting that we want to share with you, and more on that a little later. We've also set aside some time for question and answers, and we will take some questions right off the bat, but we will save some for the end of the session. So let me, to start with, introduce you to the experts who are going to be walking us through different aspects of this session. We have Maitreyi Menon. She leads the Ipsos Synthesio service line in India, and she's the one who's going to be talking to you about the power of social data. Then we have Sandro Kaulartz. He's the Chief Innovation and Product Development Officer for Ipsos Synthesio, and he will explain how we've been deploying social data to uncover trends, to discover opportunities for various clients, and he'll walk you through the process. We also have Mamata, who's research director in the Ipsos Synthesio team, and she'll talk about some of the work that she's been doing with her team for the clients in India. She'll share some insights from some of those case studies. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Maitreyi, to start off things.
Thank you, Geeta. Before we jump into the specific solution, it is crucial to emphasize that social data is phenomenal. Very few truly use it to their advantage. Let me talk you through some of the 5 cool things that social data can bring to the table. One click, please. Number 1, in real life, as people feel, they experience, they react on social media. Thus, social data can help us understand the context, specific consumer articulations, and behaviors. It's a whole lot of data which many of the organizations barely tap into. One click, please. Millions of tweets, comments, posts get generated through the day. Just by observing this data, one can get a sense of how they feel as they consume a product, what they think about the brand, what they think about the ad, and so much more. The space is full of reviews. All in their words, we can get a sense of what they are reacting to, what they think, and it's a gold mine of information. That's the beauty of social data. It can open up a space of discovery, of uncovering unknown unknowns. It can be a world of inspiration. The beauty of social data lies with how it allows to give a certain time dimension to a comment or a tweet. It allows for continuous monitoring of what is being said. Hence, one can predict and monitor trends and its evolution. And more importantly, it can give time, or we can go back in time almost 3 years and understand whether there has been an evolution in that trend. Ipsos is a research intensive organization, and that's the power we bring to the table. We employ higher order analytics, we leverage on frameworks, and make better sense of the data. You'll hear more of this in the subsequent slides. And finally, the best for the last. Ipsos owns Synthesio, our powerful, readily available engine that we rely on to crawl through all the big 4 data sources and more. Therefore, think of it, we can use social data as standalone or in addition to any primary research that you're all familiar with. Next slide, please. So coming to our differentiator and our philosophy, unstructured data remains data until we draw any meaningful insights out of it. Now, that's the universal truth for any data, right? When it comes to social listening, most digital media agencies offer it, and so does Ipsos, as that's the standard delivery. It helps to track and monitor key KPIs for your business. But we feel that's just looking at the tip of the iceberg. It's part of the puzzle, not the complete puzzle. This data can be further minced to extract complete value, and that's where social listening converts into social intelligence, a far more advanced offering. Here at Ipsos, we leverage on two aspects, technology as well as AI, while going through this data. And in addition, we also rely on human intelligence. Data cannot be looked at in isolation. One needs to use the context as well as cultural lens. This potent combination is what brings in the value and helps to answer strategic business questions. This is why we are firm believers of delivering social intelligence. Next slide, please. Thus, to conclude, we offer a unique combination of human as well as machine intelligence to help brands make better and faster business decisions. Ipsos Synthesio brings the power of data hybridization in its SaaS platform, where we combine a variety of data sources beyond just social data and shed more diverse light on consumers and expert consultants across the globe. The combination of technology and service helps our clients uncover accurate and actionable insights, and we apply them with the right cultural and contextual nuance. This unique mix of applied AI and human expertise on global scale is what makes us different. We have been recognized in the last Forrester Wave as leaders in AI-enabled consumer intelligence. Now let's look at how this combination can really help you explore your market, understand your competitive landscape, and even spot new opportunities. Next slide, please. I'd like to call upon Sandro to walk you through the next segment where we'll talk about how Market Explorer, our core solution and framework, works in your practice. These are offerings we've used for over a decade, and many of our clients here in India have made these mandatory inclusions in their research ask. Over to you, Sandro.
Thank you, Maitreyi. It's a great pleasure for me to share and inspire you with some ideas and examples on how we can decode market and trend insights from big consumer data to find new innovation platforms and guide your brand strategy into the future. I think we can all agree that understanding your market landscape at the speed of time has never been more essential than it is in today's global context of economic uncertainty. Challenger brands are disrupting categories that were long considered undisruptible, with new propositions that cater behavioral shifts and consumer trends in your category. Discovering these emerging market opportunities early is critical to stay relevant with consumers and ahead of your competition. And with AI agents and big consumer data at everyone's fingertips, it all should be a walk in the park by now. But of course, it's not. There's no shortage in data, but a shortage in impactful insights that are ready to action. Without the appropriate data ecosystem, the right semantic AI capabilities, combined with the right insight framework, it can be quite a challenge and certainly not as agile as we need it to be. That's why we are here today. During our session, we want to share our best practice ideas, our thinking and case studies on how you can prioritize the where to play and formulate your how to win. But how can we get there, and what are the insight lenses we need to blend for a holistic understanding of the market landscape? First, we need to explore and chart the category in the way consumers define it. Here it's really key to identify and analyze the moments, needs, pain points, or jobs to be done that truly matter to consumers in the category. We also need to map brands within this dynamic ecosystem of consumer behaviors and preferences to define your competitive landscape, truly consumer-centric. This will change the way we classically define our competition, and certainly we will find competitors from adjacent categories that compete with you on specific needs or occasions. Beyond, we need to identify the trends that are strongly connected to dominant and emerging needs and therefore drive behavioral change in the category. These combined insights lenses will eventually allow us to uncover untapped growth opportunities from unmet needs, expectation gaps, or brand positioning white spaces to prioritize your innovation and brand strategy. Let's make this a little more tangible with a few examples. We use millions of consumer signals to map the market and competitive landscape in the way that consumers see and express it. This analysis enables us to understand and segment the category by moments, needs, pain points, and then chart how salient brands are within and what sets them apart. Here we see an example of a need-based brand association network in the skincare category. After identifying the key needs and moments, we layered in how strong brands are associated to these dominant domains and territories. Going beyond, we can obviously dig deeper down on a brand level, here by the example of Nooks Paris, to unpack the distinctive assets and expectation gaps as they are voiced by consumers. We developed dedicated semantic AI models to organically discover the brands within a category data universe, which proved to be super powerful to also discover the emerging competitors from the niche or brands that enter from adjacent categories we did not expect. Now let's go a little further and overlay the perspective of consumer trends. Leveraging the dynamic nature of social and search data has proven its great value for trend insights over the past years. And we covered the importance of trend signal discovery and prediction in many previous Synthesio webinars and publications. However, it's important for us to emphasize on one important learning from a decade of establishing trend insight programs for our clients. An emerging trend signal is great, but it becomes truly powerful once the signal is strongly connected to key needs and pain points in the category, as it only then solves the consumer problem and therefore naturally embodies a growth opportunity. Here we see such an analysis that looks at the intersection of category needs and emerging microtrends in skincare, like antibacterial care, microbiome, and blue light protection. Alongside predictive analytics, this perspective is key for us to unfold the market trend and need horizon more holistically and prioritize the opportunity domains within. Over the years, we found evidence that trends with many connections to rising needs have a stronger tailwind for acceleration, higher chances to stay, and therefore represent sustainable innovation opportunities. The last insight lens focuses on unmet needs or solution gaps to find untapped innovation opportunities off the beaten path. Essentially, here we fall in love with consumer problems and focus on the negativity in consumer narratives with all the contextual details. We use our need and opportunity mapping that you see here that plots the need landscape based on the need maturity on the x-axis and the need satisfaction on the y-axis to understand if those needs are well served by current available products or if we find promising solution gaps. Therefore, innovation opportunities residue at the bottom of the chart, where young needs or more mature needs are located that both are currently underserved by brands. This is the opportunity area where emerging needs like castor oil for eyelash growth, here in our eye care example, or more mature needs like eyelash extension, intersect with high frustrations, solution gaps, and category jobs that are yet to be done. All right, now that we introduced the art of the possible, let's spend a few minutes on how we can get it done and how our Market Explorer framework works in practice. But before we go there, let me first clarify what we actually mean by an analytic framework. At Ipsos Synthesio, our mission is to democratize actionable insights at scale in a self-serve or expert-supported platform experience for our clients. Our 6 analytic frameworks we see here on the right ensure that we are delivering against this mission. They are validated and pressure-tested methodologies that combine use case-specific AI models, analytic techniques such as prediction models, and dedicated storytelling principles that help us to transform large data streams from various sources into actionable insights. These frameworks originate from extensive R&D with leading academic institutions like the MIT or the Columbia University in New York, and embody the intellectual property and subject matter expertise of Ipsos from the past 50 years. Therefore, they are the backbone for everything we do at Ipsos Synthesio, as they add structure and research rigor to digital data sets, and they enable us to unpack meta-learnings when combining multiple data streams. But most importantly, these frameworks are reliable, consistent on a global scale, and ensure evidence-based insights and impact for our clients. Today, we focus on Market Explorer, our framework to decode and map the market landscape. And as we all know, each data source has its unique value and its individual advantages and disadvantages. Over the past 3 years, data hybridization was the key strategic pillar in our product development and innovation roadmap, empowered by best-in-breed semantic AI and modeling functionalities. Our aim is to break down data silos and offer our clients with the most complete and diverse set of consumer data by connecting social, search, survey, and behavioral data signals. Though I want to make clear that our goal is not to populate data for the sole purpose of introducing more data so that we all get even more data obese than we are already. We strive to blend data streams in a meaningful and impactful way defined by our clients' insight needs and the use cases behind. For example, today we will be looking at the combined perspective of social data to explore consumer expressions and trends, blended with search data to immerse deeper into category needs. Search data is as important as social data for the Market Explorer framework, as search behavior is arguably the most important data set ever collected on human nature, with all our desires, hopes, fears, and ideas on what's next that we type in the search bar every day. When a relevant need arises, our instant reflex is to turn to search to look for answers, products, places to buy, and make decisions. Here is how the Market Explorer method works in practice. We start off with AI-empowered topic modeling to identify needs, moments, trends, brands, and any other relevant concept from the social and search data corpus. Next, we size each of the dimensions over time, analyze the velocity, so the speed of travel, to identify short and long-term shifts in the market landscape. In stage 3, we apply association mapping techniques to discover patterns and relationships across the 3 topic types over time. In the last opportunity immersion stage 4, we deep dive into the contextual whys to help our clients define and prioritize the where to play and how to win. Let's have a last word on the role of machine and human intelligence. The latest progressions in machine learning have led us to believe that machines can replace our research expertise and human intuition. But the idea of invincible AI algorithms that can magically extract previously unknown topics or trends remains a utopia. Exploiting the true value of big consumer data requires humanized AI with a meaningful blend of artificial and organic intelligence. Let me be clear, for the case study we introduced today, we collected and decoded more than 60 million consumer signals, and so artificial intelligence is not only the backbone, but the ultimate enabler of projects of this kind. But beyond, unsupervised machine learning also does a way better job than humans in laying the market landscape and help us to surface the hidden layers that are often not visible to the human eye. Here we see an example of a trend cluster from the food category that the algorithm discovered without any human intervention or curation. Can you guess what this food trend is about? Yes, it's actually quite hard. Once identified, we must now make sense of the discovered trend cluster. This is where human intelligence becomes essential to uncover the true meaning and context behind the trend. With this further examination, we begin to see that the trend cluster the machine surfaced is about fermented foods, and eventually how this trend fits into the whole trend landscape. Now let's have a look under the hood and make it a little bit more concrete from a client case study. The case we want to introduce aimed at identifying new growth opportunities in the US market using the example of Gatorade within the healthy beverage domain. Gatorade is currently positioned as performance drink, strongly associated to electrolytes that help regulate the fluid balance in our body. The Gatorade line includes hydration drinks to help replace what you lose in sweat, and energy drinks, which are formulated to fuel athletes. The sport drink market continues to grow, amplified by our desire to live a healthier and more active lifestyle. However, our goal was to identify growth opportunities within the healthy beverage space as a whole that skyrocketed in recent years, with new challenger brands rising weekly, introducing new product concepts and new drink types. We started off with our AI-enabled topic modeling to explore the entire healthy beverage category from the bottom up by combining social and search data. By letting the data talk first, we are empowered to discover and lay the total market landscape with all dominant and weak signals that can represent needs, benefits, trends, pain points, and of course, products and brands. Then we use our analytic features in the Synthesio platform to analyze the velocity and the majority of each topic. Here, by the example of some selected needs and benefits we discovered in consumer narratives around healthy beverages. The mapping we see here with the lens of long-term velocity over the past year and short-term velocity for the last quarter enable us to distill which needs are on a rising or declining trajectory. This gives us a first idea which needs and benefits domain represent tactical opportunities for communication or brand strategy, in contrast to long-term opportunities from demand spaces that we see growing on the long run, such as beverages that support boosting immunity or electrolytes for balanced hydration. Then we switch the time perspectives from where the category landscape stands today, grounded on historic data from the past 2 years, to future growth scenarios using predictive analytics. This lens is critical to further prioritize sustainable opportunity platforms and navigate from the current need and trend landscape to the plausible future drivers of the category. The analysis revealed that protein, immunity, vitamin, and fitness need domains will continue to rise. Next, we layered in the healthy beverage brand landscape. Our semantic AI capabilities are designed to discover brands, products, or organizations that are present in the data corpus organically, which means that there's no need to develop a taxonomy for all manageable brands and beverages. Using our brand entity recognition feature, we can now surface all the brands that appear in our healthy beverage social and search data universe truly from the bottom up. To identify the rising stars in healthy beverages, we charted the discovered brands against velocity and maturity, so the size of brands relative to each other. In total, we identified more than 500 products and brands that are voiced as healthy drinks by consumers. We see a wild mix of well-known brands and products like V8, Gatorade, coconut water, smoothies, and brands that likely many of us never heard before, like Recess, Spindrift, or Olipop. Here are some rising stars that are worth highlighting. Growth rank number 1 is for kombucha. The interest in the ancient fermented tea emerged significantly over the past years and continues to grow because of its probiotic, antioxidants, gut and heart health benefits. Growth rank 4 goes to Flow Water, a fortified water brand that caters the infused water beverage trend with a broad range of infusions like collagens and vitamins for immunity, skin and hair health. Growth rank 7 is apple cider vinegar, which is maybe unexpected in the context of healthy beverage. A consumer trend also known as the mother of detox gains in popularity across the globe, where consumers mix a spoon of unfiltered apple cider vinegar with water to kickstart their day and metabolism. The good bacteria and enzymes in the vinegar are known to strengthen the immune system, digestive health, and support to flush out toxins from the body. Last but not least, we see oat milk, mainly represented by Oatly on growth rank 14. Consumers' favorite plant-based milk alternative definitely entered the mainstream as healthy beverage, driven by its vitamin, high fiber, and blood sugar regulating benefits. From there, we can have a deeper look under the hood to uncover the key needs and benefits that consumers associate to some of the emerging brands. What makes these brands healthy in the minds of consumers? Does the trajectory of those brands grow alongside the need evolution in the category? The short answer is yes. We have seen conscious nutrition, protein, electrolytes, and digestive health are the strongest growing needs in the category. The rising star brands we just discovered leverage the tailwind of those category drivers quite effectively. Oatly and Sprout are plant-based milk alternatives that are strongly associated to the benefit of protein-rich beverages. Health Aid is distinctively positioned in the digestive health domain. And it doesn't come to a surprise that electrolyte benefit is strongest for Gatorade and Vita Coco, the coconut water category captain in the United States. For Flow Water, we see a more diverse association network as the brand offers a broad range of individualized infusions to cater a broad benefit and need spectrum, which seems to be a very compelling concept. At the last step 4, we weave all the single insight lenses from social and search data together to a truly strategic learning fabric. This aggregated big picture synthesis then enables us to prioritize and inform innovation, brand, or communication strategies for each of the opportunities. The neat maturity combined with the past and predicted velocity led to the conclusion that the protein immunity and digestive health domain are most relevant as a strategic growth territory. Once we prioritize the opportunity domains, our cultural analysts bring the important contextual drivers of change to life. Which formats and drink types are growing and which ones are on the declining path? The analysis of key tensions and pain points brought to surface that many protein drink products are perceived as inconvenient to use, for example, powder products for out-of-home consumption. And the taste of protein-rich beverages is everything but a culinary experience for most consumers. We found that proteins for fitness and weight loss is currently on a growth cycle, whereas protein for muscle buildup is declining in relative terms. We also saw a rise in search and social conversation for protein sodas, water, and smoothies, unlike declining powder-based shakes or protein drinks. All these learnings we have seen were instrumental to define ideas for a winning growth formula in the category. From there, we can develop a series of product concept ideas that address the emerging needs, benefits, trends, and fill the solution gap in the market, such as the ready-to-drink plant protein slim soda we see here. With that, I want to leave the floor to Mamata, who will introduce 2 case studies from our amazing team in India.
Thanks, Sandro. And before Mamata comes in, I just wanted to request people who have questions to post it in the Q&A tab. So you'll see a Q&A icon on top of your screen. Use that to post your questions. I'm sure there are many questions which strike you as we go through the material. And do post them. We have set aside some time in the end to address those. Over to you, Mamata.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you, Sandro. Till now, we've heard from both Maitreyi and Sandro about the power of social data, as well as the way we at Ipsos are harnessing this data, deploying humanized AI, which is basically a combination of researcher expertise rigor, as well as cutting-edge AI-powered algorithms to arrive at meaningful and strategic insights. Now, I'll walk you through a couple of recent examples from Indian context that our team here in India has worked on. Next slide, please. Yeah. The first case study I have for you today is on identifying latest trends for an FMCG major. So a client here, a FMCG product major, who's operating in an extremely matured and mass category, approached us with a very critical question. How do we ensure we leverage latest and emerging trends? And how do we bring in innovation in our products and offerings, riding these very trends? So they're a very research-savvy client and had undertaken many research projects, but was still looking for a specialized system, which is beyond the regular UNA and other foundational studies that would act as a source of inspiration for them, basically to help identify and understand latest and emerging trends. So the methodology we used here is called Trend Radar, which is our unique consumer-driven approach grounded in both data science and advanced analytics, specialized in identifying the emerging category trends. I'll not really go into the details of the methodology now, as Sandro has already walked you through some of the analytics and frameworks that we usually deploy. Let me just spend some more time talking about the business outcomes that the study helped in achieving. Firstly, we were able to arrive at a very exhaustive and comprehensive list of all the macro and micro trends spanning across consumption attitude, consumption behavior, lifestyle, needs, etc. And these had manifold implications for the client. In total, we were able to arrive at over 90 micro trends in a very complex and diverse category in a country like India. And these trends acted as inspiration and early signals that fed into the initial stages of the innovation pipeline for the client. This was basically towards product innovation, which ranged from new product ideas, new ingredients, flavors, formats, packaging ideas, etc. In fact, there were a couple of trends in the space of conscious lifestyle and proactive health that the client could in fact act upon immediately, and certain ideas related to ingredients and packaging that the client took forward for further exploration and validation. The trends also provided a lot of cues and ideas for positioning and communication for their existing offerings and products, as well as for new ideas. Interestingly, actually, we were able to figure out a few initiatives that the client was already running. These could be actually positioned and leveraged very strongly under one of the emerging and fast-growing trends. So the client was able to act upon this right then. And though the client operates, like I told you, predominantly in the mass market, some of the trends also provided very specific cues for premiumizing the offerings by developing certain niche spaces. And the client was able to take these forward as product briefs for their R&D teams to work on. With this, I'll move to the next case study. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we will look at another India case study. This one is on identifying disruptive white spaces and opportunities in personal care. Our client here, a prominent personal care brand, was looking for disruptive opportunity white spaces. They were very clear right from the beginning that they did not want to look at small or marginally incremental innovations, but were on a lookout at transformation and wanted something completely disruptive where there's a lot of play for premium as well. So in this case, the methodology that we used is called innovation spaces. It's actually a unique approach which is based on the philosophy that successful or disruptive innovation strategies are rooted in solving actual consumer problems or addressing pressing need gaps. This approach is about identifying and analyzing existing need gaps or pain points or any salient issues, along with the user solves that people are using in the form of either DIY solutions or home solutions. We analyze both of this in combination to arrive at white spaces that the client can then leverage. I'll again not go into details of the methodology, but talk a bit about the impact of the study. So we were able to arrive at disruptive and differentiated opportunity spaces for the client, which had various implications. These spaces, which were actually a combination of need gaps and user solutions, were related to various aspects of the business, right from enhanced functional delivery, support through accessories, improved delivery of benefits to spaces which were purely anchored on emotive payoffs. There was a very interesting space related to therapeutic care as well. And there was one which was about enablement services that emerged due to one of the biggest need gaps in the category currently. So the product innovation opportunities were presented in the form of either new product offerings, services, or even accessories or support mechanisms that were actually solves for pressing consumer problems. As we also analyzed emotive drivers, motives, and pain points, there were also inspiration ideas for communication, as well as in one very particular case, possibilities of a new service or business model. So this was the various implications that we could derive from the client by looking at a host of salient issues, pain points, and analyzing them in combination with the user hacks or solutions that the people are using already. So with this, I come to the end of the two case studies that we had for you from India team. Thank you. And I'll now hand it over to Geeta again to quickly take you through what's coming up next in the world of Ipsos Synthesio.
So thank you, Mamata. Now that we've introduced people to the art of what is possible, let me also walk you through what's coming up next from Ipsos Synthesio, which may sound a little futuristic, but it's actually happening now. And we'll be able to offer the solution to you very, very soon. The power of generative AI through a new added capability, which we call Genia. So if you think about what Sandro presented, what Maitreyi and Mamata have been talking about, even now as we process social data and we are trying to derive insights, there is an element of resource and time commitment that is there. And given that social data is big data, it's the absolute right place to deploy generative AI. And in a way, radically transform the way we are inciting from social data. So I just want to give you a contrast between what's happening perhaps up till now and what is going to happen very soon, deploying Ipsos Synthesio technology, right? So what we are going to deploy will allow you to actually look at insights, actually access insights in a dramatically different way. And so if you contrast with what's happening now, you have to amass a lot of social data and you have to look through that and you have to dig for impactful insights. And the process from brief to insights may take anywhere from a few days to a week or so. And this is actually a very researcher time and also a time intensive process that requires a bit of resource. And the dashboard access all kinds of data, universal data. Now, what we are working towards, though we call it tomorrow, it's coming up very, very soon, is a situation in which you can click for impactful insights. You can go from a situation where you think of a brief and you're able to get insights addressing that very sharp brief within a matter of a day, maybe half a day. And the dashboard actually curates and shows you content which is squarely relevant to your category or to the question that you may have. So let's understand this a little bit more. Let me illustrate this for you. How would it work in practice? Many of you would be familiar with the Synthesio dashboard. Now, what we are planning to do is to build into this capabilities which address specific business end users. So let's say you want to understand categories, maybe you want to explore opportunities, you want to look out for early signals and trends, or maybe even just monitor your brand. The needs could be very different. What you need to do is go to the specific dashboard which is connected to your need, right? So let's take the case where your question is, what's going to be the next big thing in my category? Right? So you go to the innovation spaces dashboard, and the first step, of course, is to pull in all the relevant data needed for this question. So this could be social data, but in Synthesio, we also access search data. We can pull in reviews and ratings data. And in many cases, if you've done the category work, the primary work with us, and you can sort of provide the content, we can pull that in as well. So it's in this data hybridized model that we will apply our first level of processing. And that's using semantic AI. You heard Sandro talk about it. What we do in that is we process this mass of big data into categories. So it's a stage where we analyze, categorize, and classify, right? So now this data is ready for further processing, and that is where we are deploying generative AI. And this is where the Genia capability comes in. Now, what we will be offering you is a capability wherein you can click and be able to generate product ideas of the kind that Sandro just showed in his health drink example, just by deploying the generative AI capabilities on the dashboard. And what is important to understand is what is enabling this, of course, is the generative AI capability, which is a radical tool, but there is a lot of proprietary understanding of what goes into insights of a certain kind in creating these kind of outputs. So super exciting stuff coming up your way very, very soon. I'm sure you guys will want to know more. Anyone who wants to know more can reach out to us. We will be showing you how to get to us, some contact information, and Genia-based Synthesio dashboards are coming your way very, very soon. I already see a lot of questions in the chat box. Some are in the review. So let me now go on to the Q&A part of it. Okay, so I'm going to call out some of the questions and in no particular order. Okay, so one of it is just a comment. Thank you, quite interesting. Wasn't aware that it can be used for innovation. There is a question from, I think, Saumit Sengupta. I can't read the name fully. One second. And the question is, can you tailor a presentation on SUVs showing some actual example where there is social and search to show dominant trends and consumer needs in India and UK? We would like to see how it matches with our understanding of the market before progressing further. So the question, maybe Sandro, you want to take that, is about exploring trends using social and search data in the category of SUV, an auto-based question. So,
Yeah.
Sandro, you want to address?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, we can absolutely do that. And we actually right now are building a syndicated offering for electronic vehicles that we are planning to scale across the world. Because there is a big demand everywhere, because then there are, manufacturers from different continents entering into new markets. So it's a very, very important and exciting time for electronic vehicles. But let me talk about the two data sources, because in particular for the trend use case, it's very important to really use both data sources, because social data will help you to understand sort of excitement or affinities of certain electronic vehicles. But bringing in search data on top, where we really can deeply tap into what are people searching for, what are their needs, what are their concerns related to electronic vehicles, really completes the picture quite nicely. And in our Trend Radar methodology that was introduced earlier, we also built a database to understand better the stage a particular trend is in the moment that we see a rise in social and search data. And usually there's a delay effect that social goes first. It's a source of amplification or incubation of a particular trend. But then when we see a pickup in search data, a few months later, we can learn that a particular trend enters more into the mainstream, because either people want to learn more about it, want to find places to buy, maybe a car dealership, and so forth. So really, for the trend use case, the combination of social and search data is very important to us.
Okay, great. There is a question here from Abdullah from BAT. Good to see old friends on the call. As they work in tobacco category, obviously, and where product and driver attributes are very generic, and also there isn't that much of public social data. That's a concern. Would there be conversations around tobacco? How do you think social intelligence can serve in this particular context, or cross-category understandings can come to play? So I'll pose this at Mamata, maybe. We can think about the health angle and so on. Mamata, you want to take that?
Sure. Thank you, Abdullah. Yes, like you rightly said, there might not be too many conversations on this particular category, especially on brands, so to say. But what we have found in our experience previously, we tend to get a lot of conversations on other inspiration ideas, like, say, for example, if you want to work in the area of flavors, or if you want to work in the area of what are the new trends, what are people talking about when it comes to health and smoking? Are there any new trends that people are talking about when it comes to smoking as a category itself? Or are there any new flavors that are coming up that people are talking about? So there are a lot of these niche areas when it comes to smoking that we can actually kind of work on, if not specifically on the brands.
Cool. Mamata, there's a related question, I think related, but you can answer that. Are you able to see rich data in pharma categories in India to churn out white spaces? So a similar question on pharma from Arushi Luthra.
We actually do. We see quite a bit of rich data on pharma, and we've been working with pharma companies here in India, right? Right from vaccine-related things to some OTC products to generic products, as well as some consumer products as well when it comes to pharma. And in fact, globally, I think pharma is one of the biggest service lines that we work on as far as social intelligence is concerned. Sandro, if you want to add some bit to the global pharma work that we do as well.
Yeah, I mean, we very much like to work in healthcare, broadly speaking, because just the richness of the discussion is so different compared to something like paper towels, right? So it's very high involving and a topic that people deeply care about. And for certain therapy fields, and we really worked, in a lot of them, we also developed a more specific healthcare framework where we look at really the patient journey more deeply to understand in each of the stages what are really the key concerns, frustrations, pain points, and so on. How does certain medications connect to it? What is the trust relationship with your healthcare professional who's treating you, and so on? Yes, it's a great opportunity, and we do a ton of work in really more customer care, healthcare, but also RX categories.
Okay, great. Sandro, two questions I'm going to direct at you, connected to what you shared. Is there a way to size or quantify these trends through the Synthesio framework? That's a question which has come from Rishi Kaul. And another anonymous question, can Synthesio help us predict possible spikes in upcoming trends? So a question about possible spikes and the other one about quantification.
Yes, quantification for sure. So all the metrics that you have seen earlier, such as maturity, which is the relative size of a trend in a particular market, as well as velocity. So how fast is it growing right now from the lens of short term, which is more in the now, in contrast to long term over the past 2 years. So these are all metrics that we have implemented in the platform, and you have mapping tools where you can really slice and dice it in whatever way you want it to. And, alongside all the discovery functionalities that would automatically enable you to discover new ingredients, new brands, or new needs that may bubble up in this data universe. So yes, the answer is absolutely. And on the second question, in terms of predicting certain events or spikes, yes. And what we actually do, which is quite unique, is that from all the trend projects we executed and all the programs we have established with our clients, we built a database that looks at what we call trend archetype recognition. So meaning the moment that a signal emerges, we run it against our database to then predict what's the curve type this trend is likely to follow. And we do that because we need to differentiate between various trend types. And it's a huge difference if a trend follows a bell curve shape, right? Where chances are that the moment you develop, a new product or innovation opportunity, it's already too late when you're ready to launch because, in 3 months ahead of time, it may already ebbed away, right? So in contrast to trends that follow more a wave cycle with stages of strong growth, plateauing, and growth again. So we have these archetypes developed that help you to understand, what's the curve type this particular trend is growing? Is that actually long-term or more a short-term opportunity for me? And then, with that, based on historic data that we have and really the econometric model for prediction, we are absolutely able to predict a particular spike. And when these spikes happen, we look at the signals that are surrounded by the spike. Is the spike, infused by a specific data source, maybe a small group of authors, or are there other factors that may indicate why that spike actually happened? And we can then extrapolate, that from historic data into the future and tell you when a particular spike is. An example of what we do is we help clients in the healthcare customer care domain, we just talked about it, to help them predict the next flu wave, to understand when people are entering the pharmacies to buy product. And we looked at a lot of historic data, such as social search, but also WHO data on doctor visits, to build this model and really quite precisely predict when is the right moment where, there needs to be stock in the pharmacy of product. So that was helping the client to distribute product more efficiently in particular markets. So in short, yes, we can do that.
Yes. So as you can see, a lot of data science understanding that goes into what we bring out from the big data that you see. Maitreyi, maybe I'll target this question at you. This is Aman from BlackBerry menswear in a country which is as diverse as India? How would you include cultural relevances, beliefs, and norms into your study? Certain aspect of the apparel, colors, and design stem from cultural relevance specific to a region. So it's a very good question about, also not just product features, needs, etc., but also cultural aspects.
I think it's a very interesting question. Thank you, Aman, for that. There are two ways of looking at it, right? Because there is tons of data that is sitting here, and that's where Sandro was talking about using data analytics to our advantage. But what we also bring in addition is the human intelligence, because it's the people who's sitting behind and reading through all that, millions of conversation, and then trying to look for themes that are emerging. So it is the researcher that's behind this. We also layer in to understand what is so the culture as a dimension has to be understood through different facets, right? There are different and enough more frameworks available, right? You can also employ primary research that we use to work with this data, right? So it's not just looking at social data. We look at social data. We look at understanding, what anthropologists bring to the table. What really is the entire culture, the gamut of it. All of it can be understood by looking at different layers of data, right? And that is when we kind of piece the entire study together. A lot of agencies unfortunately just look at one part of that puzzle, right? I think it's about joining those different parts and then building that entire story together. We'll be happy to discuss this offline as well.
Yes, I think that it will require a detailed discussion. So two kind of technical question. One I saw from Vijay Sequeira a little while back, which actually was about the sources that feed into Synthesio. So Sandro, I'll direct that at you. And another one from Savita Sudhir. Now that many agencies have introduced SI-based analytics, what is it that you're bringing out differently from them? So one about, what are the sources of social platform that we can access through Synthesio? And the second question is, how is it that we are bringing a different value add as compared to the other SI-based analytics companies?
Yeah. So on data sources, so we differentiate between the 4 data sources that we mentioned. So social data, search data, behavioral data, and survey data. And I mean, we talked about this Forrester recognition that we're really the leader in what the new category that they called AI-enabled consumer intelligence, which is actually the new wave of social intelligence, where it's really data and systematic data gathering combined with really best-in-breed AI capabilities that really turn data into insights. So that's what this category is all about. And for social data, we essentially collect everything that can be accessed via Google. So it's classic social data, it's news media, it's also corporate information. It's obviously forums, blogs, video platforms, things like Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, of course. So it's really a gigantic universe of conversational data. And then when it comes to search data, we're obviously using Google and, 2 other key search platforms. But we also weave in search data from Amazon, an example, which can be pretty interesting depending on the category, right? So when it comes to product search, actually Amazon is more important than Google. Google is something like the taxi that brings you to the right destination. But when people use Amazon for their searches, they have really a more concrete product intent. And that's also very powerful to look in contrast. And then in terms of behavioral data, we work with, the largest digital advertisement engine in the world, which is Meta's audience targeting platform, where they collect behaviors across their platforms, meaning Instagram, Facebook, obviously, and WhatsApp. And we use this data to really look more into audience behaviors. So you could go ahead and define, I need people who have an affinity towards Tata in a certain age category in a specific Indian region, and we can create this group, and then we have access to 16,000 behavioral variables, and we can then analyze. So are the chances that, you know, the people with an affinity towards Tata have you know, are more into gardening or are more likely to be tattooed than others, and so forth. So it's very powerful. So these are the data sources that we bring together. And then to quickly address the second question about what really sets us apart, I think
Yes.
what really makes a difference in Synthesio is that we really have this very and truly lived seamless integration of the leading technology and the SaaS platform, but also like a global team of expert consultants that you have heard speaking on the call today across the globe, right? So we have folks on the team that can help you in South Korea and Japan, obviously in large parts of Europe, in India, but also South America. And to address this need of cultural nuance and deeply understanding what makes people tick is very important. The second aspect I would like to point out is really, you know, coverage and data diversity, right? So we are really trying with data hybridization to bring many data sources together, and then to our knowledge, there's no one else who's offering that broad of a set of digital data streams. And then, of course, you have all the research rigor from Ipsos, right? So we are a research company that leverages technology, but we are not a technology, from historic reason, we are not a technology company that is now trying to do research. For us, it's the other way around, and rigor is everything we do. And we bring all this knowledge and, you know, philosophies. What's the right way to look at brand health? How we should look at product performance benchmarking, how we should look at trends. So we leverage the whole of Ipsos, but we transfer this intellectual property into our services. And that's truly unique. And that's why we are considered as, you know, the leading vendor when it comes to insights.
Thanks, Sandro. I think there are quite a few other questions, and my apologies to the questions that I haven't immediately taken up to address in this session. We'll get back to you definitely. And as we shared earlier, for the things that have caught your attention, caught your imagination, and you want to explore it further, please reach out to the two people on the call whose mail IDs you see over there. And as Sandro correctly pointed out, we are an insights company. That's our legacy. So whatever we deploy comes from that perspective, be it AI, be it any other technology. So we hope to connect with you, talk to you soon. And for today, thank you for joining us and giving us your time and some brilliant questions that you asked. Thank you so much. With this, I would like to close this webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.